Can the iPhone 16 Pro camera compete with the AI-heavy competition, or is Apple falling behind? This is what I have been thinking about since my detailed 16 Pro camera test, which, by the way, you should totally check out if you missed it. But now, I would like to dive in further after a few weeks or months of use, breaking down the new camera features in my long-term experience and see if they are worth the hype. Let's recap here. What's new in the camera department? The iPhone 16 Pro has a 48 megapixel main sensor, but with twice the readout speeds thanks to an upgraded sensor. And the real upgrade comes in low light performance, and Apple has increased the sensor size of the ultra-wide and added macro autofocus to capture more detail in challenging conditions. The 5x optical zoom on the telephoto lens is a nice addition, giving you more range without losing quality. I hear people missing the 3x, but honestly, I don't get it. You have an optical 2x by cropping in with the sensor, you can choose between 24 and 48 megapixels, so you could even crop further, plus the digital zoom between 2x and 5x is actually pretty decent. Even beyond 5x to like 10x, you can totally get away with it for social and personal use. But here is where things get interesting. Unlike Google Pixel or Samsung Galaxy, Apple hasn't embraced the AI photo manipulation. No face swapping, no image boosting, no crazy AI modification. Apple's camera philosophy is rooted in traditional photography. According to Apple's VP of camera software, a photo is a celebration of something that really happened. But with competitors pushing the boundaries of AI, Apple's approach might feel a bit too conservative for some. So if you are into modifying your photos and creating memories, as Google puts it with their AI tools, it is a sad year for Apple fans since it seems like we will not get anything like that. But hey, Steve Jobs said that you don't need a pen for the iPad, and look at us now with the Apple Pencil.
Yuck! Nobody wants a stylus.
But as for me, being a photographer and videographer, I like the way Apple thinks. I also want to capture reality, but through my own vision. And while I love AI, I don't want any hardcore AI working in the background without me knowing. Just think about Samsung's Moongate, where they replaced the shot with modified stock images. But what is your take on capturing moments or reality versus AI? I think it is quite a debate, so I would love to read your thoughts in the comment section. One thing that really grew on me over the past few weeks is the new tone control and photographic styles. You see, Apple did introduce tone control and new photographic styles, letting you customize the look of your photos. And this is only available on the iPhone 16 line. It's a great tool for people who love fine-tuning their shots, but I wouldn't call it revolutionary. And here is a twist. In the recent years, Apple has taken a route to capture as many information as possible, shadows and highlights, to a point where the image looks quite flat and not realistic at all. Actually, a lot of people rambled about it last year.
Actually, what is wrong with the iPhone 15 camera and how do I change it? Every time I take photos, I look like a gray ghost.
For me, this is where Photographic Styles come into the picture. With its intuitive control, I can dial back the contrast and shadows to achieve a richer, more contrasty and realistic look. It is a mixture of Instagram filters on steroids and the really fine-tuned Lightroom presets. And yes, you can even create your own presets and set it as default. One wishlist item of mine here, though, is that it would be great to have several custom presets for things like portraits, daytime, nighttime, and more. And one other thing that I would like to highlight here is the difference between moods and undertones. The latter is a really subtle refinement to your style and focusing on skin tones, while moods can be drastic and emulate film looks, for example. What I really like is that it will not introduce noise or weird artifacts. Now, let's talk about what's missing. AI. Apple promised a feature called Apple Intelligence, similar to Google's Magic Eraser, where you can remove objects from photos. But as of right now, it's still not here. And even if it was, it will not be available in Europe and China. Just check my long-term review video if you missed it, since I explained this in detail in that video. So, while the hardware is top-notch, we are still waiting for those AI-driven features to catch up with the competition. But you know, I always look at the gear as it is right now and not by its future promise. So as of now, the iPhone 16 Pro feels even more subtle than I initially thought, even on the camera side of things. On the video side, there are some cool upgrades though. You can now shoot 4K at 120 FPS, even in HDR, in log, in ProRes, which is amazing for high-end video projects. Just check out Weeknd's new video clip that was featured in Apple's keynote. But keep in mind that ProRes will eat up your space and you will need an external storage to shoot in the highest quality. So, let's do the math here. A slow motion 15-second clip in log and Apple ProRes is 5.5 gigabytes. And here is another thing I discovered. The 4K 120 FPS will only work on the main lens and 2x zoom and 1x, but not on the ultrawide or the telephoto. And talking about the ultrawide, while we got the new 48 megapixel sensor, it is quite still noisy in low light conditions and the camera reflections are still visible when there is a light source in front of you. You still get those weird artifacts and flares both at daytime and nighttime. But during daytime, this is one area that has significantly improved compared to the iPhone 15 Pro on all lenses. But other than that, the standard videos look pretty much the same as on the iPhone 15 Pro, which still was the best video you can get from a smartphone in my opinion. And here is an overlooked setting that I would like to address for the iPhone 16 Pro. Formats. By default, you still get HEIF or HIF files high efficiency. You can do 12, 24 and 48 megapixel photos, but this year we got something pretty cutting edge when it comes to RAW formats. JPEG XL, lossless and lossy. This is a quite new technology, so if you haven't heard about JPEG XL, it offers an improved compression over traditional JPEG, resulting in smaller file size, yet providing the flexibility in post, like a RAW file. It is a DNG kind of RAW file, if you will, like giving you the same dynamic range as a RAW file, but in a drastically smaller file size by around 50% less. Another cool aspect of the JPEG XL is that while the raw data is stored in it, it already is shareable since it has its finished look. At the same time, you can open it in Lightroom or Photoshop or any app and treat it as a RAW file. And while we are at it, one thing I would have loved to see is an improvement in live mode. You see, I realized that there is no improvement at all, but it would have been so great to have a dedicated long exposure mode. There are some cool features in the audio side of things as well. Spatial audio, audio mixing, which is designed to isolate voices in noisy environments. And guess what? I found myself using this feature for non-professional videos quite often, although you have to set each clip individually, you cannot change the default. I did a comprehensive test of it in my iPhone 16 Pro camera review, so if you wanna find out how awesome it is, check that out. And while you are at it, if you find my insights helpful, please show it by smashing the like button. And talking about it, I must address some new things I discovered using the camera control button, although Apple really refrains from calling it a button.
It is a real button, right? It's a physical thing that depresses, right?
I think it's a first of its kind. There is a tactile switch that gives you that final click.
For example, you can decide which camera app you want to open, not just the built-in one. Because if you think about it, and here is an interesting new food for thought for you that I haven't seen in any reviews, now you can open the camera from the lock screen in 4 ways: action button, camera button, quick access buttons, swipe right. For me, it obviously makes sense to use the action button for something else, like silent mode, the camera button for another app like Blackmagic, change the icon, and just swipe. The other thing that I found out about the iPhone 16 Pro's camera is that sometimes it reacted a bit slower than if I were pressing the display controls and not the camera control. So now, actually, even though I really like it, I am a bit more hesitant about how groundbreaking this feature is. But it still is great to have it, even if you use it to capture something, and there are scenarios you use it and sometimes not. And talking about capturing stuff, I felt like the previous iPhones had a bit of delay, but with the new 16 Pro the shutter response seems more instant, like really capturing what I see when I press the button. So, after long-term use, I think I can help you answer the question if the iPhone 16 Pro's camera system could be a reason to upgrade. If you are serious about photography, who values image authenticity and want the absolute best at your fingertips, either at times when you don't have your large camera with you, or even if you feel like you could save the money on an expensive mirrorless or DSLR and spend a fraction of it on the new iPhone 16 Pro, you will definitely love this year's improvements. But if you are more into today's Insta world or looking for cutting-edge AI tools, this might not be the phone for you, at least not yet. Once Apple Intelligence arrives, it could change the game, but for now, it's a solid upgrade, just not groundbreaking. That being said, make sure to check my in-depth camera review with tons of test footage if you haven't already. Like, comment, subscribe with the bell. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Maybe in this. Click. Bye.